Total Mind. Unlocking Your Hidden Powers. Introduction, Chapter 1. The Monkey in My Head. Okay, let's get real. Meditation always sounded like something hippies do in some exotic cave while smelling of patchouli. Or maybe it's for those intimidatingly zen types who can balance on one finger and survive on sunlight alone. Me? I can barely balance my checkbook, and the closest I get to exotic caves is my kid's messy room. I was always one of those people whose brain buzzed like a beehive. To-do lists spiraling out of control, random worries about meteor strikes, the nagging suspicion that I was wearing mismatched socks. You get the picture. It felt like 100 angry monkeys were doing a drum solo in my head. Then a friend, Emily, one of those glowy, serene types who looks like she eats kale for fun, mentioned she started meditating. I snorted. You mean sit still and think about nothing? Kinda the opposite, she laughed. It's about observing all the crazy stuff your mind does without freaking out. Actually, it's kind of funny. Intrigued, and let's face it, desperate for more serenity and less monkey drumming, I gave it a whirl, and boy was meditation not what I expected. First, there was the awkwardness. It turns out sitting on a cushion, spine straight like a Lego figurine, is harder than it looks. And who knew breathing could be an advanced skill? My early attempts were more like panicked gasps for air by a drowning fish. But the strangest part was my mind. It was an unruly toddler let loose in a candy shop, grabby, impulsive, and absolutely unwilling to do what I told it. I tried the classic focus on your breath thing Emily suggested. Yeah, about 2 seconds before my brain was like, ooh, cookies. Then bam, it's off on a wild tangent about whether dinosaurs ever had cookie cravings. Feeling about as zen as a toddler denied ice cream, I almost gave up. Then it hit me. My monkey mind wasn't the problem. The problem was I was always fighting it, getting tangled in the chaos. What if Emily was right? What if the ridiculous show my brain put on was sort of entertaining? Section 2. Befriending the Beast. Instead of fighting the monkeys, I decided to watch them. Not judging, not trying to change anything, just observing with amusement. And that's when it got interesting. Some thoughts were hilarious. The sheer absurdity of worrying about whether sharks wore tiny hats deep in the ocean made me snort out loud. Others were poignant. Fears about my kids growing up too fast. Regrets about that time I was impatient with my mom. Each little mental whirlwind would appear, strut its stuff, then gradually fade away. By witnessing, not wrestling my wild mind, something shifted. The monkeys didn't disappear, but the frantic drumming eased. Thoughts still arose, but I was less hijacked by them. I realized I wasn't my thoughts, just the sky where those mental clouds drifted through. It was like finding a hidden control panel for my brain. I started noticing how often I jumped on the worry train, replayed cringy moments, or spiraled into what-if disasters. With that awareness came a sliver of choice. I could still ride those mental roller coasters, but I could also choose to step off. That's when the real magic of meditation started. Turns out, those few minutes of mindful observation had a ripple effect throughout my day. Chapter 2. Welcome to your Inner Superhero Layer, Section 1. Let's talk superpowers. Not the flying through the air kind, though wouldn't that be cool? But the kind you already possess right there inside your noggin. Your mind is an astonishing piece of biological machinery, capable of incredible feats. Sadly, most of us treat it like an underpaid intern, shoving random to-do lists at it and expecting miracles, not realizing it's secretly a genius waiting to be unleashed. Think about this. Your brain builds worlds. Close your eyes and picture your childhood home. Boom! There it is, with smells, sounds, the texture of the carpet, all conjured within seconds. Your mind constructs the reality you experience. And it time travels. Regretting that snarky remark from yesterday? Planning your dream vacation? Your mind effortlessly bounces between past and future, sometimes whether you like it or not. It's a master storyteller. Notice that voice in your head narrating your life? Sometimes it cheers you on. Sometimes it's a drama queen convinced disaster lurks around every corner. That inner storyteller profoundly shapes your experience. Now here's where meditation gets interesting. Most of the time, we're completely enmeshed with our thoughts and feelings. We get swept up in the movie playing in our heads, reacting, judging, and freaking out, as if what our inner storyteller dishes out is gospel truth. Meditation is like stepping into your mind's secret control room. You get to sit in the director's chair, watching the show, and realizing you're not just the actor getting smacked around by life's plot twists. You can change the channel, hit rewrite on lousy scripts, and even turn down the volume on certain annoying characters. Yes, I'm looking at you, inner critic. Section 2. When thoughts attack. Okay, fair warning. Once you start paying attention, you'll realize something horrifying. Your brain is kind of crazy. I don't mean this in a bad way. It's a brilliant but overprotective organ, constantly scanning for problems to fix or dangers to avoid. Unfortunately, that means it sometimes turns a minor oversight into an existential crisis. Picture this. You're driving to work, and you remember you forgot to reply to that slightly annoying email. Suddenly, your mind explodes with, "They're gonna think I'm incompetent. Maybe I am incompetent. This could ruin my career. I'll lose my job, my house, and end up living under a bridge." Whoa there, Nelly. This is where those superhero skills come in. Meditation teaches you to spot these mental runaway trains and gently get them back on track. Not by fighting them, which often just adds fuel to the mental fire. Instead, you observe your thoughts with a little detachment. Here's my catastrophic worry spiral. Interesting. Kind of ridiculous, actually. Here's the magic. When you simply notice without getting entangled in the drama, thoughts start to lose their power over you. Section 3. Rewriting your inner script. Remember that inner storyteller? Well, turns out sometimes they're not the most inspiring writer. We've all got limiting beliefs lurking in the shadows of our minds, whispering things like, "I'm not good enough," "I always mess things up," or "What's the point?" Here's where meditation works as a cross between a mental detective and a skilled editor. By paying attention to the tapes playing on repeat in your head, you expose the scripts that sabotage you. But it doesn't stop there. You can start rewriting those stories. Exercise, the mental makeover. Step 1. Tune into that inner critic. What are their favorite put-downs, the things they tell you on a bad day? Step 2. Flip the script. Is there a more empowering alternative? Instead of "I always mess up," try "I'm learning and growing." Step 3. Repetition is key. Consciously repeat your new empowering story whenever the old one tries to sneak back in. Chapter 3. The Captain and the Autopilot. Section 1. Imagine your mind as a giant ship. Your conscious mind is the captain on the bridge, making decisions, setting the course, or at least trying to. Then there's the subconscious, that vast engine room below deck, humming along 24/7 and handling most of the ship's operations without you even being aware. Here's the thing. While the captain is super important, the autopilot down below has a lot more sway over the ship's direction than you might think. Think of all the things you do automatically: driving a familiar route, brushing your teeth, the way you sometimes blurt things out then go, "Whoops, didn't mean that." That's your subconscious at the wheel. Our subconscious is formed by a whole mix of things: past experiences, deeply held beliefs, and habits, both good and bad. That's why sometimes we react with unexpected anger, or we self-sabotage just when good things are within reach, as if some hidden program is determined to mess things up. The good news: meditation gives you a peek, and eventually, a whole lot of control, over what's running in that subconscious engine room. Section 2. The case of the pesky ice cream cravings. I used to think strong willpower meant fighting all my cravings. No more cookies, no mindless scrolling, just steely self-discipline 24/7. Yeah, that lasted about 5 minutes before a grumpy internal rebellion broke out. Meditation helped me realize I was approaching this all wrong. Instead of fighting my inner ice cream monster, I got curious. During a particularly intense craving marathon, I sat down and closed my eyes. Instead of judging myself or trying to make the cravings vanish, I watched them. Surprise! Turns out the craving wasn't just a blob of desire. There was a voice. "You deserve a treat." A tightness in my chest. Old memories of cozy nights with a bowl of Rocky Road. When I zoomed in, the craving wasn't some invincible force. It was a collection of sensations, thoughts, and feelings. And those I could handle. Section 3. Rewiring your subconscious. Here's where things get awesome. While you can't just waltz into your subconscious and rearrange things like a cranky interior designer, meditation is a powerful tool for gradual rewiring. It works like this. 1. Awareness strikes again. Meditation is like turning up the lights in that engine room. You start noticing your patterns. Are you a people pleaser? Do you have a hair trigger temper? Do you shut down the moment someone criticizes you? 2. Creating space. Instead of steamrolling over these patterns and feeling bad, meditation teaches you to pause between the trigger and your reaction. In that space lies freedom. 3. Choosing a new response. Instead of yelling automatically, maybe you take a slow breath. Instead of saying yes to everything, you practice saying, I need to think about it. With repetition, you lay down new neural pathways, like creating shiny new roads in the jungle of your subconscious. It's not about becoming a robot, but about consciously aligning your automatic reactions with what you truly value. A caveat: your subconscious is stubborn. Changing deep-rooted patterns isn't fast or easy. Remember, those pathways were laid down over years. Your subconscious is going to put up a fight, like a grumpy toddler refusing to try vegetables. But meditation gives you the persistence and the kindness to stick with the process. Exercises. Befriending your subconscious. Inner Snoop. Notice what goes through your head on your morning commute. Is it a strategy meeting with yourself? A non-stop worry-a-thon? Write it down for a fascinating and sometimes cringy portrait of your autopilot. Trigger tracker. What sets you off? Traffic jams, messy kitchens, certain tones of voice? Start a trigger journal to bring awareness to your subconscious hot buttons.